Have you ever wished you could be someone who remains unshakable, someone immune to criticism, rejection, loss, or betrayal? Someone who could finally silence that relentless inner voice, that quiet anguish that gnaws at you even when you're putting on your strongest face. Maybe you're exhausted from constantly trying to please everyone, from maintaining that image of strength when all you really want is a moment's peace from the crushing weight of appearing untouchable. Here's the truth nobody wants to tell you. As long as you're running from pain, it will continue to control you. Every attempt to numb yourself, protect yourself, or hide from your wounds only makes you more vulnerable to the very things you're trying to escape. The cutting words, the crushing disappointments, the deafening silences that kill you inside. But this isn't weakness. This is the human condition. Some people hide their pain better than others, yet only a few are truly unshakable. Here's the truth about how to become unshakable, where no amount of doubt, criticism, judgment, or fear will ever hold you back again. Carl Jung, one of the most profound minds in psychology, revealed something that changes everything. We are not what happens to us, but what we choose to become. The secret isn't building walls around yourself. It's not about becoming cold, indifferent, or untouchable. True strength comes from integration, bringing everything that affects you in the shadows into the light of consciousness. Real power isn't the absence of pain. It's the complete awareness of who you are and what you're feeling and thinking, even when it's uncomfortable. What you need to understand, what hurts you isn't actually out there. It's not in other people's actions, their poorly chosen words, their abandonments or betrayals. The brutal truth is that none of these things have any power to hurt you unless there's already an open wound inside you waiting to be triggered. What devastates you isn't what others do to you. It's what these experiences activate within you. It's the story you tell yourself. It's the old trauma you've never addressed. It's the emptiness you disguise with strength, pride, and that desperate need to appear well-adjusted. Carl Jung showed us that external pain is merely a reflection of what hasn't been integrated in our internal world. That's why some people can survive devastating situations with grace, while others crumble at a simple comment. It's not about what happens, it's about where it hits you. Here's the uncomfortable truth. You suffer so much because you still believe you can control how the world treats you. You're still trying to be good enough, smart enough, strong enough, as if that guarantees protection from pain. But control is an illusion, and clinging to it keeps you in constant tension, trying to predict the unpredictable and avoid the inevitable. Want to stop suffering? Stop protecting yourself from suffering. What you need isn't more control. It's more awareness. Your freedom begins when you understand that everything coming from outside only has power if it finds an echo within you. And that's exactly where the real battlefield lies, in your unconscious mind. Your unconscious mind is the hidden force running your life. The biggest lie you've been sold is that you're in control of your life. Wake up, you're not. At least not while you continue living on autopilot, reacting without knowing why, feeling without understanding the source. Carl Jung made this crystal clear. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. That pain you feel, that anger that explodes from nowhere, that sadness that invades without explanation, none of it is random. These are messages from forgotten, ignored, repressed parts of yourself. Your unconscious isn't just a cloud of vague thoughts. It's an active force, an entire system of memories, trauma, desires, and fears that you refuse to face, but that continues to control how you feel and act. You wonder why certain words destroy you while they bounce off others. Because those words touch sensitive points within you that are still alive and unhealed. Jung said, "We cannot change anything until we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses." What have you been doing? Judging yourself, repressing yourself, silencing yourself, as if that would solve anything. Most people think the only way to avoid hurt is by closing off, building walls, creating masks, developing emotional armor. They say might they don't care, while they are secretly crumbling both mentally and emotionally. But here's what Carl Jung understood. Becoming emotionally strong has nothing to do with being cold. It has nothing to do with ignoring pain or pretending not to care. True strength comes from integration, accepting and bringing to light everything you've buried in darkness. You don't become untouchable by creating barriers between yourself and the world. You become untouchable when you realize that no one can touch what has already been embraced within you. When you integrate your shadows, fears, flaws, and insecurities, you stop reacting to everything. You observe. You choose. You're no longer an emotional puppet that is constantly getting triggered and a slave to your emotions. That is true freedom. You learn to hate pain from childhood. You were taught that suffering signals weakness, that crying wastes time, that feeling too much makes you vulnerable. But Carl Jung saw suffering and pain completely differently. He saw it as the messenger of the soul, the alarm of the unconscious, the language your true self uses to get your attention. He said, "Depression is like a lady in black. If she appears, don't push her away. Invite her to sit down, offer her coffee, and listen to what she has to say." Suffering only happens because you're at war with yourself. Part of you wants to grow, while another part clings to the familiar. Something inside cries out for transformation while your ego, being addicted to control, tries to suffocate your call for that very transformation. Pain is born from this friction. Because change is uncomfortable, growth can be temporarily painful. Letting go of old beliefs can be confusing at first. It's an internal process of death and rebirth. But in this temporary space of discomfort, something new can be born. When everything is deconstructed, when certainties crumble, when pain strips away your protective layers, you can finally see who you really are. At that moment, suffering becomes sacred, bringing you to your knees before the only thing that can set you free, yourself. Few people have the courage to begin the journey of individuation, and even fewer complete it. This path doesn't promise comfort or protect your ego. It destroys it. Individuation means becoming who you are by unlearning what you think you are. You discover that you're not your achievements, not your traumas, not the image you constructed to be loved or respected. All of that was what you created to survive. But surviving isn't living. True emotional armor isn't a shell, it's a core. It's the integration of all your parts into a center of consciousness that remains unshaken in the face of storms. You may feel pain, but it doesn't break you. You may be hurt, but you don't lose yourself. You've stopped being reactive and become whole. This depth comes at a price, temporary loneliness. Not because you'll be alone, but because few can accompany you on this journey towards your greatness and becoming truly unshakable. Because most people remain trapped in their own mental prisons with their masks on and frozen by fear. But you are freeing yourself now, and your consciousness unlocks this freedom. Here's what you must know. Nothing will shield you from external suffering if you remain unconscious of what happens within you. Other people's words will continue to hurt, rejections will sting, losses will bring you down, until you awaken. Awakening isn't magical. It's a daily choice to look within even when it hurts, to take responsibility for everything you feel without blaming others, the past, or fate. As Carl Jung said, what you resist persists. What you accept transforms. You've spent your life resisting the fear of not being enough, the emptiness of rejection, the pain of loneliness. You've hidden, silenced yourself, tried to control everything, tried to be perfect. True emotional immunity isn't hardness, it's clarity. It's not about creating armor, it's about expanding your awareness. When you understand your triggers, patterns, and wounds, others' actions lose their power to destroy you. You still feel, but you don't drown in negative emotion. You don't lose yourself. You remain in a relaxed and peaceful confidence. You own every room and continuously remain unbothered. Remember, trying to ignore or suppress what's uncomfortable isn't protecting yourself or helping you in any way. Dive in deeply. Understand and feel everything so you can become unshakable. So nothing or no one can ever throw you off kilter again. Because those who suppress emotions or live on the surface get hurt by every wave. Those who dive deep know there is silence, stability, and power below. When you live from that place of integration, presence, and acceptance, the world may try to knock you down, but it can no longer find where to hit you. You are truly unshakable. This is your invitation to stop surviving by pretending to be strong and start actually being strong and unshakable by living in your truth. Continuously look at yourself and bring your shadows into the light where you have control of them. I'll see you in the next video to go even deeper into fortifying your personal power.